Buffalo, New York, I'm headed your way. I'll see you guys Friday, April 24th and Saturday, April 25th. Hey guys, exciting announcement. We are doing a live Wayback at the Netflix is a Joke Festival. It's Monday, May 5th. It's 7 p.m. at the Hotel Cafe main stage. It's our first live ever Wayback. We're going to have a special guest. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have gifts. We're going to do some fun stuff with you guys as well. So get your tickets now for the Netflix is a Joke Festival live Wayback Monday, May 5th, 7 p.m. at the Hotel Cafe. Boston, I'm fired up to head back your way. I'll be there Friday, May 15th and Saturday, May 16th. Albuquerque, New Mexico, I'll be there Friday, June 5th and Saturday, June 6th. Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'll be there Friday, June 19th and Saturday, June 20th. All tickets on my website at ryansickler.com. Hey guys, we have a new segment on the way back called After the Beep. We got a new landline and an old school answer machine, and we want to hear from you. Call 323-452-3732 and leave a message. Hit us with things like craziest high school moment, worst job, dumbest injury, worst trouble, maybe something you got away with, or maybe you're looking for some old school advice on relationships, jobs, even am I the asshole? Or keep it quick, confessions, weird habits, the worst advice you ever got. We'll play them back and react. Keep it under 60 seconds. Anything longer than that, we ain't listening, all right? Full segments are only available on Patreon, so give us a ring, 323-452-3732, and leave a message after the beep.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pass Studios. I am Ryan Sickler. Thank you guys for supporting this show. I'm very excited to get this thing going today. Before I say that, actually, come see me on tour. Get all your tickets on my website at ryansickler.com. That's all we're going to do for the biz right now. I'm very excited to introduce our guest here today. You know, I say these are the stories behind the storytellers. I'm very excited to have this guest here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ned Fulmer. Welcome to the HoneyDew, Ned.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, Ned. Before we get into whatever we're going to chat about today, right there, promote everything you'd like, please.
Sure. You can follow me at youtube.com/Ned Fulmer and check out my podcast, The Rock Bottom Podcast.
All right. We met today.
We did.
I've read a little history about you. And as I said to you when I walked in, I like to ask and just make sure the stuff I read on the internet is true, because we had Kevin Neal and I said, hey, man, I read that you had a brother who was murdered at 12. And he's like, that's not fucking true. Which is a horrible thing to put out there.
Big thing to get wrong, yeah.
So, Ned, let's just start at the beginning for you. Where are you originally from? Tell me about your family.
I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
My dad was a doctor. My mom worked in arts education. Mm-hmm. And both of them were from New York and Boston. So I kind of grew up like a fish out of water in the South.
What's bringing them down to Jacksonville?
My dad's job, he got his med school paid for by agreeing to go wherever just to do public health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so kind of random.
Talking to you about Duval over there before. Because you guys, Jacksonville used to be in the Ravens division. And I was telling you, Jimmy Smith would just beat our ass.
Yeah. So I was a very
something else.
Impressionable youth in that time, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And it's just, for better or worse, I'm a Jaguars fan for life now.
Well, you got a good squad now, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many siblings do you have?
I have a younger sister.
Okay, so the four of you guys are in Jacksonville, and that's where you're growing up? That's where you, high school,
pretty
all
much
that?
The
that's
entire
where your
time.
Roots. Okay.
Yeah, I lived in the same house the entire 18 years of growing up, and my parents still have it, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then What next? College? What do? You head off to do what?
A bit of a golden boy. I did really well in school.
Okay.
And I went to Yale University, actually.
Oh, shit. You went to Yale.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that,
did you do well at Yale? That's hard to say. Did you do well at Yale?
I did okay.
You did.
I think my first year was pretty good. And then I started getting more into the, extracurricular, like theater and film stuff, kind of at the detriment of my science classes.
I got it.
They also had the science classes like up a big hill. It's like really you got to really want to go there at 8:30 in the morning. It's like a 20-minute walk uphill. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Where's my Zoom class? Yeah, that would have been way better. And so then I wanted to be in the entertainment industry and wanted to do comedy, write comedy. And I had a mentor that said, hey, instead of moving to LA right away, get involved in YouTube stuff. If you want to move to Chicago, like move there first. You're never going to go to LA and then Chicago. You're probably going to go to Chicago and then LA. So I lived in Chicago for about 5 years after graduating, doing a bunch of live shows and writing, and started getting involved in making YouTube videos.
So were you doing stand-up, improv, a bit
Mostly
of all of it? Or?
Improv and sketch.
Yeah, Chicago is the improv. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, were you doing like IO West or Second City?
Yeah,
doing
IO,
all that
Second
stuff?
City, The Annoyance.
I mean, I say West because that's out here, but IO, of course. Yeah.
Improv Olympic.
Okay. And then you're also younger, so your wheelhouse. So for us, it was always do that and then try to go get on TV.
Yeah.
Yours
it was still,
now.
In Chicago, it was still like, oh, the SNL scouts are coming every summer. And
well, years ago, I had a friend from Chicago, and we would watch TV, and the while we're watching it, be Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But then the fucking commercials would come on, and then she would go, Chicago. I was like, God damn, all that Chicago? I was like, wow. And already what I knew I thought was a lot. And there's just like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, damn, Chicago. But also you've got is this the early part of the YouTube starting to get in?
I mean, I graduated college 2009.
Not just TV. You also have this newer thing over here.
Yeah. Okay. I remember very distinctly like making this sitcom on campus, and then as a experiment, I split it up into parts and put it on YouTube. And when we screened it on campus, it's like, oh my god, wow, 200 people are here watching this show. And then when we put it on YouTube, it's like, whoa, 20,000 people watched this clip. Like, it was just this real shock of what these online numbers were like. And
people are going to tell me to let you talk, but I got to ask you one more question. At this time in Yale, are you hearing anything about this? Are they teaching you or educating you about the YouTube or any podcasting or anything back then?
Oh, not really.
Nothing.
No. Okay. It was all geared towards traditional entertainment. Maybe.
Is it too like low, brow for Yale to have a podcast course?
Podcast course? I'm sure they do. They have all sorts of stuff. I remember when I was just back for a reunion, they had a new like tech startup area. So that wasn't there in 2009.
All right, I'm going to shut the fuck up now, Ned. Okay, so you moved to Chicago.
That's right.
You do it.
Yeah.
All right. And you're doing live shows, and then when do you sort of like stumble or venture into this YouTube lane?
Well, I mean, I was doing YouTube in Chicago, but it really kind of picked up when I moved to LA and started working for BuzzFeed, which was like a big media company, really growing a lot in that mid 2010s type of time period. I got married in 2012, and then the fall of 2012 and also into 2013, I had a succession of like two really big health crises that basically made me quit my job. I had to go on disability leave from the.
Tell me what happened. Wait, real quick, how'd you meet your wife?
We met through a mutual friend.
Out here in LA?
No, in Chicago.
Oh, I'm sorry, in Chicago.
We met very young, like when I was 22.
And did you come together out here to LA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're just getting settled and trying to get some roots, and then health shit hits.
Yeah.
And what do you find out?
We got married in June of 2012, and then that October, I guess, I split my knee open so badly it got infected and got a septic knee. And I was working in a chem lab at the time because my degree actually was in science. And it.
Oh, so you wanted it, bro? You went up that motherfucking hill.
Yeah,
you went up
I
that.
did.
You
I went up that hill.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now, technically, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Science, not a Bachelor of Science in Science.
You know what's weird? I got a Bachelor of Science in Mass Communication, bro. So
that
it
makes
balances
no
out.
sense.
It doesn't at all. I wanted to be I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. So
that's cool.
I started taking human anatomy and physiology. And then as it got deeper, I was like,
it's intense.
White fucking flag. I'm lost.
A lot to
I'm gonna
memorize.
kill people. I'm gonna fucking kill people. And I was like, let me just go to TV and movies and film. And so I went over there. So my degree is Bachelor of Science.
That's so funny.
Because I went heavy on the fucking the shit.
Yeah, I have a BA because I went heavy in the arts. They're like, you have to take 2 more advanced science classes to get a BS. I'm like, hell no, I hate doing that.
Yeah, fuck that. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm doing screenwriting. No, I figured that I could always do arts with a science degree, but I couldn't necessarily do science with an arts degree.
Okay, so you cut your knee, you go your blood goes septic. You said.
Yes. So I was in the hospital for 3 weeks.
I had a friend that this happened to. It's shit serious.
It was
People don't realize.
Serious. They were
were you also not up on your tetanus?
No, I was.
You were.
I was.
And it still got you.
Yeah. And they said 50 years ago you would have died because the antibiotics straight up weren't invented yet.
Also, I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think 50 years ago, I'm thinking the 40s and shit. Here's the thing. That's like the 70s.
Yeah. I know.
That's fucking crazy.
It's just weird. Yeah, you're like 70s. That's modern medicine, baby.
That is modern medicine. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. If I'm here for that, ain't that old.
Yeah, right.
So you're in there for 3 weeks.
So it's really bad, yeah. And because I was working at this lab that had all these blue collar requirements of you must be able to lift 60 pounds to come back to work. So
did you cut your knee on the job?
No. It was playing paintball with my friends in rural New Hampshire on a guy's trip. So haven't played paintball since then.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So we're not on workers'
I was
comp
basically I was on disability leave,
right.
but I wasn't allowed to come back to work. So it's this really strange kind of depressed sort of time where I'm doing physical therapy on all these painkillers, off work, and it's just a really kind of depressing and tough time. I had to quit all my shows and all my, basically everything I was doing, and then that was in October. Then in February 2013. I find myself back in the hospital, this time with an MS episode, which I didn't know I had.
Explain?
So MS
you mean
is multiple sclerosis.
What do you mean an episode? What happens?
Well, for many of the cases in relapsing remitting MS, it can spike up and then go kind of dormant for a while. So I must have had it and didn't know it, but then it spiked up, and the way it spiked up was I couldn't, my hands were numb, and then my arms were numb, and then my back and my chest were numb, and then I got weakness in my legs to the point where I couldn't hold my body up, and I would I fell over, and that's when I went to the hospital.
So you end up, it's just been in you this whole time, lying dormant, and this is the first time it's introducing itself to you,
right?
And you go in there you have MS.
Sort of, yeah. You have to
MRI
technically have
that.
it 2 different moments in time to be definitively diagnosed with MS. But I was diagnosed with the precursor to MS called something else.
And so then when's the next time you feel something?
Fortunately, I didn't feel anything, but they did a scan revealed new disease activity that winter. So that's when I officially had MS.
I see.
But
is that a brain scan?
Yeah, it's it's an MRI on your brain. It reveals these little spots called lesions.
The white matter or something like that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's your your brain has the axons and the dendrites and all of these, neurons, and they're covered.
Listen, you're talking to the right guy, bro.
Yeah, all
Human
right.
anatomy and physiology.
Anatomy and physiology.
Bachelor of science,
so
right?
MS,
you talk to the right
your neurons.
Or synapses and I know, man, frontal lobes and cortexes and shit. I know.
So there's insulation to these wires called myelin, and that's what MS is it kind of eats away the insulation, kind of like a rat chewing at your wires there. So it's your own body.
What age are you when you are officially diagnosed? The second one.
I guess I'm. It was all in 2013, February, and then December.
So 12 years ago.
I guess I was 25.
13 years
25.
ago. So you're a very young man to find this out.
Yeah.
And at this time, can they tell you what like varying degree you have and what the progressions showed? Like, are they able to help you with your future?
A little bit, but part of living with MS is dealing with that fear of like, I know it's going to get worse someday. I know I might be in a wheelchair someday, but I don't know when or how or how bad it's going to be.
But also,
you could get hit by a bus tomorrow.
No, look at it. Let's be positive, Ned.
Okay.
Let's be positive.
That's what helps me is
I'm
realize
help
there's a
you
bunch
for
of
a
other
second
ways
here,
your
bro.
life
There are. However, just 50 years ago, a medication, or excuse me, for your blood, that shit was created to save your life.
Yeah.
You're how old right now?
38.
I mean, maybe when 30 years, if this rears its ugly head, by then they got a shot for this shit or a chip they put in your fucking skin.
I mean, even over the last...
Instead of you just walking out in front of buses and shit, and 2 years later they make it. Could you imagine? 2 years later, like, MS is cured. You're like, God
dang it. But I really needed to get to the other side of the street.
So how does that fuck with you?
Well, it was a lot of fear. And it was this really sudden shift of being able-bodied to being essentially paralyzed. And fortunately, they inject me with a whole bunch of steroids. They like do this thing where they put 2 tubes in your neck.
Touching your neck. Really?
Yeah. They pull the blood out of you, strip the plasma, and then put it back into you with artificial plasma. Because the plasma is like where all the antibodies are. So supposedly that's supposed to help you. And it did.
Does your family then go get tested to see genetically if any one of them has it and who the hell gave this shit to you?
No, I guess we didn't do that. I don't know that it's like so explicitly genetic. It's not like blue eyes or brown eyes or something. It's like, I think your male children are slightly more, but it's not like 50% chance. It's like,
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe, goes from 1% likely to 2% likely or something like that.
So when are you healthy enough to sort of get back to life and work?
Yeah, it took I was in the hospital for another 3 weeks. So it was kind of like this back-to-back thing that really just disrupted my life. So maybe like March. And then at that point, I'm like quitting. I've quit all the show. Like I was in a musical or I was in an improv. It's like I've quit all of my nighttime shows. I'm sort of coming back to work, but then I'm like, what am I doing in this job? So that's kind of when I formulated the decision to like move to Los Angeles to just try to be in a larger entertainment market.
Okay. And at that time, you and your wife come here?
Yeah.
And do you have kids yet?
No.
When do you start trying to have kids? And are you also terrified that A, you could, not be able to take care of them, and B, this might be something you give them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for many years, the way I dealt with it was just to like push it way down and just kind of be in denial. Because once I was able to walk again, I was like the sensory symptoms that I have ongoing are just kind of like numbness and tingling in my hands. My brain is more or less able to ignore it, which is great and awesome. Mm-hmm. For 5-6 years, I was on an injectable, and that was basically the only time I had to think about it. It was like once every 48 hours.
You're doing that yourself.
Yeah. And it's like really painful. And I'd sometimes like cry and like smash my pillow and just be really like upset and frustrated. But I didn't, I think I really pushed it down. And so much so I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell anyone about it. I like was new in LA and I was starting a new job at BuzzFeed, and like I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want to like be people to sort of just have that be the only thing they knew about me, or I didn't want like because I was also had this thing where I was like off work and then had to come back to work, and it's like I didn't want my bosses to like know that I was potentially going to go back to the hospital and miss months. I just wanted to kind of do my job. So yeah, it was a real interruption in my life that fortunately, I guess, led me to Los Angeles, but really, has taken me the better part of a decade to become a lot more comfortable with it as a diagnosis and as something that I'm like comfortable talking about in conversation.
I just know how I am, and I found out I have wild health shit too. I didn't find out I had a disease, genetic blood disease till I was 42, and Like, so when you feel numbness,
Yeah.
do you fucking have a little bit of like, you ever sit on the toilet too long and you get up and your legs don't work? Are you worried that they're just going to stay like that? Or are you like, no, here they come, they're coming back?
No, for sure. I mean, if it gets worse, it's like, oh no, is this some new baseline that I have to get used to?
It's timing out longer before I recover.
Yeah, because it fluctuates, right?
Yeah.
It'll fluctuate with temperature or
I was going to ask you, is there a time you notice more that it shows itself as stress?
Hot,
I'm sure
cold,
always.
Temperature, like alcohol,
hot
stress.
And cold, huh?
It's most people it's hot, but I find it for cold as well.
Yeah. Okay, so now you and your wife at the time is also is she also in entertainment as well?
No, she's more in like the design and loves like vintage stuff and curating like decorative accessories. She worked for a vintage reseller as a buyer in LA.
All right. And so what happens to you guys?
I start working for BuzzFeed and then we suddenly become famous.
And why?
Well, it's right place, right time, I guess. But I mean, BuzzFeed was experimenting with doing a bunch of different viral videos and I was part of that crew making stuff and trying to test stuff out and have things spread on the internet.
And she was comfortable jumping into that world and making content and stuff.
She became more and more comfortable when she realized that it was like a lot more easy of a way to put her stuff out there than like client work, which I think was kind of
so she's
annoying.
Not dropping this and going to this. She's implementing. I'm bringing my shit with me and I'm going to promote.
Yeah, totally. And there was at one point like I designed a show all around like her redesigning rooms and kind of put that out there as like a content so that people could start to see her in that way.
And so I know you guys did couple stuff together and you were working as a married couple in your content together, not separately. You would work together.
Yeah, it's early on. I think in one of the very first Try Guys videos, I make some reference to like, oh, I have to leave the shoot early because I have a date night with my wife. And then it became this catchphrase of like, my wife, my wife, my wife. And then we'd like lean into it and like make more jokes about it. But then it really became seemingly something that I was known for. And when I looked at what I was posting on social media, the stuff like as a couple or being like all cutesy, like would get way more engagement than stuff with just me or just doing whatever. So I just did more of it.
So as a content creator, or as working in the public eye and stuff, as a married couple together, did you find it difficult to like, did you ever just go to fucking dinner to go to dinner? Or do you always fucking doing something with the phone or a camera or whatever? And like, where do you guys try to draw that line so it's not so blurred where you can have something for you guys that isn't for every fucking one else?
I don't think we drew that line very well. I mean, I think we had pretty blurry boundaries. Eventually we started to like taper off the types of stuff we would feature our kids in as they started becoming like less of a baby and more of a toddler. But, in general, like I always felt this like pressure to post and to show, the more like rosy side of my relationship and family. And it over time it became just really exhausting and kind of made it further and further away from like the truth of what was happening in my life and in my relationship. And I think that like disconnect really was something that was hard for me to deal with.
And what was really happening?
I mean, it was not as perfect as show it on Instagram. I don't think anyone's relationship is.
That's what also this whole show is about. Like, I got sick of everyone's.
Yeah.
I say their ESPN top 10 play. I'm so tired of your highlights.
Yeah, totally.
And we all have the worst times in our life, So yeah, that's interesting too, because then you're living in front of a camera and now you have children and then you got to start drawing lines. And this is also like, I don't envy you guys either. This is a new, territory and it's a new frontier with all this shit and how they do. maybe 100 years from now, people will be like, oh, this is the best way to do this with your kids on social media. Blah,
Right.
blah, blah. People are still trying. I've had Chris Hansen sit right there in that fucking seat and tell me about Roblox and wild shit that these predators are doing with our kids just by seeing them online. And I wanted to ask you, did you ever have any weirdos or stuff? Because once you put your life out there, people can figure out where the fuck you are these days, where you live, where the kids go to school. Did you ever have any issues with that?
Somebody came to the old Try Guy's office one time to like drop off a gift because they like found the location, which was my old rental house.
Was it a real gift or was it like a fucking...
No, it was a weird gift. I mean, it was a real gift.
Not a hand or anything like that?
No,
okay,
all right,
just want to make sure.
Probably like a long letter or maybe something handmade art. And, you know, that's sweet. And it indicates like that our work had reached people. Which is always the goal as an artist to like make stuff that affects people. But, you know, it does make you feel a sense of lack of safety when someone shows up to this, you know, the office. Never had anything with the kids, fortunately.
Good. Yeah. So are you comfortable? I said to you out there before we recorded, you were, I guess, caught cheating in a public way. Is that accurate? Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable telling us what happened and how that went down?
Sure. It's a pretty well-known story, so there's nothing to hide, really.
Okay, fair enough. As I said, I ask everyone if it's true or not and how, because I'm sure everything that's online about this isn't also 100%
well, that's
true.
True, yeah, for sure.
So I'd like to hear it from you.
I was having an affair with my producer, who was employee of the production company that I owned and operated. We got caught together making out on a dance floor after a Harry Styles concert.
Where?
On a business trip in New York.
Oh, in New York, not out here.
Yeah, sort of.
And got by who?
Like fans who recognized me or her.
Oh, so you were spotted. You weren't just a rando up there.
Yeah, you know.
And so how does that get who finds out first then? Because this is interesting that you don't know. Does your wife find out first, or do you find out first that this is out there?
It's sort of, well, it wasn't out there to start. It really, I think pretty much all the important people in our life found out simultaneously by this person sending it to, you know, my ex-wife, her ex-fiance,
they sent it directly,
people
like
that we worked with in our office. I think they just kind of sent it everywhere. So that was like, for me, that was immediately the moment where I'm having to tell my ex-wife everything that had been happening and what was, you know, the extent of, you know, what this photo meant and what it was.
It was a photo, not a little video clip or anything.
Yeah, it was like a screen grab from a video.
So I have questions for you, Ned.
Sure.
How old are the kids at the time?
1 and 4, I guess.
Okay.
What's this? Fall 2022. Yeah, so 2 and 5. 2 and 5.
And when and how do you find out this photo's out there? Like the next day? Is it that same night?
The first thing was Ariel, my ex-wife's, forwarded me an email of somebody like sending like a DM through an email, just like describing how they saw us and
that night.
Yeah,
like pretty quickly.
Yeah, so that's kind of something that I knew that it was like we're gonna have to have a like conversation about it, and at that point, it'd been going on for a while. So in a lot of ways, I was kind of relieved to be able to talk about it, which is a fucked up thing to say, but was the truth. It's like, you know, I sometimes think subconsciously I must have wanted to get caught because then you are forced to stop living a double life and start to come to terms with why you're doing it and what it means for your life.
And at the time, you're in New York, so you still got to go all the way back to California to have this conversation. It's not like you're driving home and we're talking tonight.
Yeah, well,
how long before you have
an awkward thing
of
that actually she was coming to meet me, and we were going to go to a wedding in New Jersey for some family friends. So I tell her,
all this is on the phone?
no, I wanted to talk about it in person, which maybe was a mistake, because she, really was very, very upset and wanted to immediately get on a plane and go back to Los Angeles while I went to this family wedding.
So she did come to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And she already knew then, and you're like, please come so we can talk?
No.
You waited till she got there.
Yeah.
And then you told her.
Yeah. Because I was under a delusion that it wasn't as big of a deal as it was. There were some...
Why? What made you think that?
Well, there were ways that we had talked about certain like boundaries and things that would be okay versus not. And, this was not, but it was close. And I was, delusionally thinking like, oh, well, since we've talked about these other things, that this is probably fine. And I think there's a lot of different ways that when you're cheating, or when I was cheating specifically, that I lied to myself to make it seem more okay in my mind.
Now I'm going to ask you questions, and if you're like, nah, I don't want to answer that, or you don't want us to put it in, that's fine too. But the lady you're cheating with,
yeah,
is she married, or does she have family, or is there anyone in her life?
She was engaged.
She was engaged.
Yeah. And part of what was so destructive is her fiance actually caught us like early on, and then we stopped for a while, and then
he didn't tell your wife?
No.
How early on?
Pretty much right at the beginning.
When you say caught you, how did he catch you?
Like saw some stuff on her phone.
And did he call you or confront you?
Yep.
What did he say?
I don't.
Did he show? Was it to your face, or did he call?
He called me.
And did he already know you? Were you friendly?
Sort of.
And was she friendly with your wife? You guys knew?
We had even worked together back at BuzzFeed, so we'd known each other for the better part of 8 years or so. I don't really remember, but he was very upset, and so it was like, oh.
And you stopped for a bit, but you didn't stop.
Yeah, eventually we started, seeing each other again.
And how would you get away with it?
We went on a lot of business trips.
Okay. You're not sneaking here or there. You're going on business trips.
She's the producer that is like setting everything up, and I don't know.
Guys, Ridge Wallet is back. I've been a fan of Ridge Wallet for a long time. This is my third one. And when I found out they had NFL teams, I jumped on the greatest team in football, the Baltimore Ravens. I used to have my wallet. I was a guy that would sit, in my back pocket. My back's going like this, messing me up. All the receipts, all the cards, very little cash, but messing me up. Had that fat Costanza wallet. Boom. Now, driver's license, 3 cards in there. That's it. You can put it in your front pocket. Ridge Wallet can hold everything my old wallet had, up to 12 cards plus some cash right back there on that unique slim modern design that's comfy, sleek, and better for my back personally. Ridge builds their wallets with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber, all while offering 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. All Ridge products have a lifetime warranty, which means this is literally the last wallet you're ever going to have to buy. And if you still aren't completely sure, then you'll love knowing that no matter what you pick, Ridge has a free shipping and a 99-day risk-free trial. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code HoneyDew at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use code HoneyDew, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Now, let's get back to the do. How long? Months? A year? How long are we talking?
Yeah, months.
Months.
Yeah.
So when you tell your wife,
yeah,
I mean, what is that fucking like? That's got to be the worst fucking thing ever.
Yeah, it was
imagine
a real
are the kids
music
with her too?
No, she's
okay.
on.
They're home in LA being watched.
Yeah, she says like, "Oh, I saw this. Like, were you like this person sent me this message? Were you like in New York with your sister or something?" And I was like, "No, I was with this person." Like, oh, and then said like how long it had been going on for, and what the extent of it was. And, that was really when it was, I think she, was like, turn this car around and.
You were in the car, dude.
Were
you going to the wedding?
Driving to the hotel to kind of get ready for.
And you just took her to the airport?
I just, turned the car around, took her to an airport hotel.
Man.
Yeah.
I got to say, I really feel terrible for your wife right now. I don't mean to make you pile on, but also, like, I got to get on a flight now, fly back to 6 hours to LA thinking about this shit. Like, and what's going to happen to my life and my kids, and do I stay? Do I go? Is that the only thing he's lying about? I mean, And you go to the wedding?
Yes.
Okay. Listen, you shouldn't just bail on this wedding. I don't know, actually. I don't really fucking know.
I mean, I didn't go to most of it, but I went to the actual ceremony.
Okay. Were you in it? Like, were you?
No, it was like a family friend.
Yeah. So then you go back to LA, obviously. You go back home.
Yeah.
Is she there, or are you kicked out of the house? Like, how
yeah,
does that go?
I lived in a hotel for a couple days. And
what's going on with your the ladies situation? And is he coming after you again? Because he already fucking said, hey, man,
we definitely did that weekend.
He tried to show up where you were?
Well, he threatened me and called me and stuff, but he basically, I tell my ex-wife that I want to work through things and cut off contact with the affair partner.
And how would you do that if you're employed together? So are you quitting a job? Is she quitting a job? Or how does that work?
I don't.
You didn't?
You're
like, whatever. I'm just
going
to do whatever the
if
fuck
I have to work from home for the next year, I don't know. It doesn't.
And can you tell me about your ex? Is she, well, let me ask it like this. Is she a Latina, or is she just fucking processing? You know what I'm saying? Are you having anything thrown at you? Are you in danger of being stabbed? You know what I'm saying? Or is she like, when she said turn this car around right now, did she say it like that, or were we in a different octave? You know what I'm saying?
No, she's not a Latina, but no, it was very, it was devastating for her, and it was really emotional.
In the sense that, is she? I don't want to make her now try to look like it, but I'm saying her reaction, whatever's justified. But is she yelling, or is she like a quiet, like just leaving and not talking?
No,
tortured,
yelling.
You know what I mean?
Yelling, crying.
All right, so she's communicating, was really like, at least.
The thing for me that was like, oh, you are totally like, this is in no way okay. This is really hurting this person that you care a lot about.
And obviously you're married and you have children, so you fought in things before naturally, normally, but this is something you're seeing a whole new, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to try to work it out. Does she? At first, does she? Because you did say your ex.
She doesn't know for a while. I think it took us the better part of 2 years to really decide whether we were going to continue working on it or not.
All right, let's talk about that 2 years.
Yeah.
How do you co-parent together, and what are you doing? Are you back in the house? Are you like, what's the setup?
So I live out of the back house for some time. Like, we have a little ADU, so it's kind of, mommy and daddy in separate bedrooms.
All right, but you're on the property, and if there's an emergency or something, they're right there.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to go in and put them to bed or anything?
Yeah, we're doing it a lot together, and as we're doing therapy and working through it.
You just stay the fuck out there when it's time. That's
in the evening. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's about a month goes by, but then it goes from like a private thing that we're working through to a very public thing where I, very publicly get fired from my job, and that kind of creates this
it wasn't
shitstorm of
this whole time we're talking about right now wasn't public and wasn't
no.
I thought immediately it did. I'm sorry.
Most people do, but it was about a month.
Okay.
Or so.
And but because you get fired, that's what propels the story into
Yeah, I started
media.
like getting cut out of content, and people are like, "Hey, that's weird," and then it kind of all blows up. And
so that's a whole new level of now.
Me and her weren't sure if I was getting fired or not, or what was happening, and then it was kind of really a surprise for both of us, which was tough to deal with.
Okay, so now this is out there everywhere, which has got to make your wife also feel like, great.
Yeah.
Now the world fucking knows about this shit.
Yeah.
So is that a whole new level of?
Yeah, it was and now there's trolls like saying like, "Oh, I slept with him too," and she's like, "Well, now I don't know what's true or not." So with the advice of our therapist, we go and like
I wanted to ask, so you guys were in therapy at the time too?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, couples therapy and individual therapy. So I actually go to to live at like a facility, like it's sort of like a rehab type of place to just be like what's called a therapeutic separation, to have some time of not
because they're telling you you're a sex addict or any of this stuff and you need to be over here, but this is a safe place to go get your shit together for a bit.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And although being around like addiction and people who are working through like eating disorders or alcoholism,
gambling,
and
there's
all sorts of stuff,
yeah.
or just people that are super depressed or like suicide, like it was all really interesting and powerful and like healing for me to be able to so openly talk about how I fucked my whole life up. And it was, the kind of being able to view even just like having an affair through the lens of like addictive cycles and stuff was really helpful for me to understand like why it was so hard to, not see this person and things like that. So it was a really, really helpful and really healing time. And there was such a shitstorm on the internet that like I just needed to completely like unplug from everything. So to actually be in a place where my phone is literally like in a lockbox.
I see.
Not able to be in like
I forget about like just how accessible every fucking thing is in the world these days from the palm of our hand sometimes, and even by habit, I'm looking at the weather. I'm still looking at something,
Yeah.
Man. Okay. So now it's public. You lose your job. We do our stay. Where are you headed next when you get out?
So after,
and I'm sorry. And do you have in-laws out here? Who's helping with the kids and stuff?
Yeah, in-laws and friends.
Okay.
Were all pretty helpful during that time period.
All right, so you had a good support system for the children. That's always important. Okay.
Yeah, and we were getting this kind of therapeutic like process of, the couples therapists, each of our individual therapists. And part of that is to basically write out all the things that I did and all of the like secrets I had been keeping, and then to kind of communicate that in one sitting. So then she knows exactly what's like true and what's not. And that's kind of like a baseline that you can rebuild your sense of trust off of. Because we knew, or at least I think both of us, even if we weren't sure we wanted to be romantically together, knew that we wanted to be like have a friendship and a co-parenting relationship.
Okay.
So that was really helpful. It was about 3 months of time.
So I'm going to be honest with you. That's pretty quick for a lady who was, I'm talking about your ex, caught off guard by all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's impressive that she could, Latina, we're looking 6-8 months, bro. Minimum. Might be forever.
Yeah.
Might be a grudge, but I'm just
kidding. I mean, the group therapy at that place that I went to, I continued to do for like 6-9 months.
So what are the
sure exactly.
personal consequences? And, God, I mean, I hadn't thought of this either. Like your children are young, but someday they're going to read that shit. They're going to see that. I hadn't thought of that either. Like it's a new world for this kind of thing too. How do you deal with that?
It's devastating. I mean, it's everything I knew about my life kind of collapsed in the span of a weekend or a month.
That's wild.
So
to
like,
think of it said
no
that
wonder
way.
it wasn't like I had anywhere to be to go do the 8 hours of therapy every day.
Why do you think you cheated?
I think I cheated because I was selfish and I was unhappy and I didn't have the tools to understand that unhappiness and that emptiness. And it was easier to, kind of fill that void with something external. And then once it started happening, it kind of becomes like a runaway train where it's like, your body chemistry and all of those things that make people like fall in love with each other and like all of that kind of gets hijacked to there where it just feels like, you're living or dying based off of,
Looking
anyways.
back, Ned, were you in love with this other lady? You just mentioned love. Were you in love with that lady?
I thought I was
You
at the
did.
time for
You
sure.
did.
And now looking back on it, I think to myself, like, how can you really love someone if you're in this kind of, it's, a relationship built on secrecy and sneaking around and not anything that's like kind of,
You're loud and proud about, or look at my wonderful partner.
yeah,
She's so
or it's
amazing.
just, you don't have that grounding of what I think a true loving relationship needs to be built on. Certainly don't have that sense of honesty. I felt a sense of aliveness and a sense of was feeling good about my life for the first time in a while,
Mhm.
but that's like kind of a temporary, now afterwards in like rebuilding those pieces of my life, I've kind of had to just build that from the inside out without any kind of external connection to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that my whole life I did everything that was expected of me and had all this achievement and success. And then you look back one day and you feel super empty about everything. And you're like, what else is there in life?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to me, at least.
Without maybe naming anyone turn on you that surprised you, and vice versa? Anyone really come through where you were like for example, maybe her dad was like, "Hey, look, you're the father of these kids," and blah blah. I don't know. I'm making that up, but I'm asking: is there anyone both ways? Anyone where you're like, "Man, I really thought I could, lean on this person, even if I fucked up," and the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That my friend group and a lot of our friends, like as couples, were really supportive of just, hey, like, we understand you're working through a lot, and that there's, that Ned, that you fucked up, and also like we love both of you and hope you do and kind of figure it out in the way that's best for you. And I think her parents like shared that sentiment of, we're going to take our lead from our daughter. And
are they together? Because your parents were together. Are they together? Her parents?
Yeah, both are. Yeah.
What's it like? You're a dad. What's it like the first time you see her dad after all this?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Not easy. Yeah, not easy. I apologized. And
is that why you went over to see him, or are you seeing him at like something else? You're like, can I please have a conversation?
I think we were all on a family trip to Big Bear together.
Oh God, dude, in the same car and shit?
No, but in the same house.
And that's where you talked about it?
Yeah. Once there was a moment where they were alone, I went to talk and apologize.
Oh, was her mom and dad together you did this?
It was, yeah.
And how did that go?
I think they accepted my apology and took their cues from their daughter. So I think, they were hurt, but also supportive of the kind of work that we were doing together to build a new sense of family life.
Mm-hmm. How long ago is this now? 3 years?
3.5 years. Yeah, 3 years.
And you don't have to answer this at all, but I'm curious, has your wife started dating, and how's that been meeting that person if you have?
I think that's her story to tell.
Fair enough.
But
have you started dating again?
Yeah, I've started dating.
You have. What would you say is the biggest lesson you learned from this?
I mean, honesty and authenticity, that it's like much more important to be truthful about like painful things than it is to try to, hide something so that someone feels better. Like, this all would have been, it still would have been painful, but if I had the courage or the kind of awareness to be able to say like, hey, this XYZ isn't going well for me, and I'm feeling this, and I want to do this, but I think it's hard to be knowing that at the time, and sometimes you just have these negative feelings and don't really know what they mean, and this was how I dealt with them, and it was horribly painful and destructive for so many people. I mean, it's not just my ex-wife, but all of the people involved, people at my office that I used to work at, and
I forget even about the whole work thing too. Yeah, there's all those people
it's kind of like a small family, right? Like and then there were everyone out, like the public that had been following our story and our relationship. Then they felt a sense of betrayal as well, I'm sure, and there's a lot of pain all around. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I had caused it, and it was because I was selfish and like keeping secrets. And
talk to me about the relief. I know you said even though it's fucked up, like you finally it's over.
Yeah,
the secret's out. You can let this go. Because do you think you would have ever told?
I think for sure, because I was like, there were so many moments where I almost tell her or try to like tell her just so many, like just skirt around it, but tell like almost, I mean, I was losing my mind. I think.
I mean, you've got 2 young kids, a wife, this job. I know this business is fast-paced, boom, 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 production. You're at a new company that's just taken off. Yeah, I'll bet you're fucking losing your shit. So there's a small part of you that's just like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, and I remember before it happened, we like released this very adorable cookbook together called the Date Night Cookbook, and we're on a press tour promoting it, and we're like doing all these really cute things during the day and like taking selfies with fans.
Bro. Your chicken parm's my favorite.
Appreciate that. You made that chicken parm?
I love it, bro. I love it.
Anyways, I mean, it was just the biggest disconnect of like,
I forget about all
being
that
so
because you're just
cute and coupley during the day.
Doing all this, you built
and
that
then
together
at night,
though
like,
too. That too, I think about that. Like,
yeah,
it's right. You took it off and then you built that together. Okay, so let's talk about that too. Obviously, these things fall apart and stuff, but. Do you two even consider working together again in any capacity?
Sure. There's like some projects we're still doing where it's like maybe it's she's more on camera and I'm more behind the scenes or stuff like that. But I think we were both like knew that kind of on camera being cute together was both not possible anymore and not something we wanted to do. I mean, that disconnect between being cute during the day and then feeling like isolated and alone at night, it's like really challenging to deal with. And as hard as it was to have it all be out in the open, at least then there wasn't anything that I was like hiding anymore, and I can just kind of exist as myself and just try to build up myself as best as I can.
It's all so fucking interesting in a horrible way too, to get caught like this. Like, what a world we live in these days too, where, obviously when the Coldplay thing hits, are you also, the internet's forever a dick, I always say. Are you going to be trolled forever?
Probably.
Like when this comes
probably.
out, there's no doubt, I'm guessing for you, there's going to be some people in there dropping shit about that.
Yeah, I'm going to get
Do you still, anything you do now, do you still, even if it's 100 comments or there's still 3 or 4 in there that's some shit about that?
Yes.
It'll forever, it'll follow you.
Yeah.
That's a new thing in the world too. You can't even like start over somewhere else because that digital footprint follows you. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Some doctor in fucking Louisiana loses his license. He's moving out to Washington State and starting over as a dentist. You can't do that shit anymore. Like, that guy used to fucking be? You can't do it anymore.
Yeah. No, you have to just be like, this is who I am now. And hopefully it connects with people. And if not, it is what it is.
I'm going to continue to ask you a few questions here, Ned.
Cool.
Through this process, do you learn that maybe you're not suited for the married life? Do you maybe prefer multiple partners? And you know what I mean? Like, or are you scared to hurt someone, so you just casually date? Like, where are you in the realization of who you are as a preference moving forward? Would you ever be married again? Things like that.
Yeah, I definitely have noticed in my dating life that I'm much more like, I'll say what's happening, even to my detriment. I think like someone broke up with me because I was like, just so we're clear, like, I know you're dating other people and I'm dating other people. She's like, yeah, I know that, but why do we have to say that? I'm like, well, because it's very important to me.
My dick starts burning. I want to know who the fuck on your side gave that shit to me, unless it's my side.
So I think I'm a lot more upfront, and whether, if some of the people I've dated are E&M or in more that like poly type of circle, and that's like being a lot more upfront and transparent about what it is, where you're at and where they're at. I think it's been really healthy and helpful for me. I'm still not sure if that's like for me. I mean, that's there's only so many, like I'm a pretty involved dad, and that leaves like not that much time to date or whatever. So like some people are like, oh, I have 4 partners. I'm like, how do you do that?
Well, you're a young man. Would you consider marriage again?
I would.
You would?
I would.
Kids? More kids? Or are you done with kids?
I mean, I'm not out here searching for kids, but
the door's not closed on the right person. I'd be open to the conversation.
Think so. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And these days now, you and your wife, I call it, my daughter's mom and I, professional. We're very professional. We do, we work very well together and stuff like that. Are you guys on good enough terms to do that now?
I think we're a great team, and I'm really grateful for all of that work that we did together, and that work that I did in that like crisis time, kind of going to the therapy facility and just kind of really working through it. Because now we're able to like go on trips together. Like we spent all of August in Greece together, having this wonderful experience for the kids, where we're just, living in a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 separate bedrooms, and the kids go to school in Greece, and we're kind of each taking little trips here and there, but mostly able to, provide a new sense of family, even though it's different from the others. I guess we've realized that maybe we're better as friends and co-parents than romantic partners.
Tell me about, you do something with AEW?
I did.
You wrestled?
I did. I wrestled.
You like really
in
got
a real
in the
match?
ring?
Yeah, actually, for real. Yeah.
Against who? Was it tag team? Was it one-on-one?
So they coddled me quite good. Yes, it was a 3-person tag team.
Even their coddling, I'm still watching these guys get fucked up.
Right? No, I felt like I was in a car accident the next day. Like my back was fucked up for about 2 months. Did they slam you? Like what happened to your body? Yeah, my whole training was like getting slammed. Yeah, it was like my whole back was stiff for days. 2 days for like my entire back. But yeah, there's one muscle in my back that was like months. It's still probably not quite right. Anyways, yeah, the whole practicing is like getting slammed over and over again. Your whole brain is telling you to not hurt yourself.
Do that?
I knew it was going to be a good...
Did it come your way, or is this something you sought out?
I saw it. It's something that I sought out.
You did want to
sent
do
them
this.
that's AEW formed in my hometown of Jacksonville.
Oh, is that right?
I figured they might be a little, as the upstart, a little more approachable than WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was, for the new season of stuff I was doing, like the kind of unscripted challenge style content that I love to make. I wanted to do like big spectacle, high intensity stuff. So I did something in a fighter jet, like stunt plane.
Man, listen, no offense, that's cool, but you're just sitting there in a plane. I know they're Jeep, whatever. That ain't the same as a boot to the motherfucking head and a clothesline, a body slam.
True.
So, do you have a wrestling background at all? Did you high school wrestle? Anything?
Maybe for one day, yeah, in high school.
And
maybe
you
for
just
one
went
day.
in there and so what did you get to do?
What I
them?
learned was it was about wrestling, yes, but they're basically all just theater geeks with muscles.
Yeah.
Like they just love a show, and I love a show. Like,
They love the dress, the robes, the boas, all of it, the glasses, the hair. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
I also knew that I was a villain. Now.
Yeah. Even if you didn't want to be, you are now, bro.
Maybe it would be fun to wear a sparkly outfit and be a villain.
And when you get in, do people recognize you and booing you and shit?
So here's the thing.
How's
Because I was from Jacksonville, they cast me as the hometown hero, actually.
Shit.
So I prepped all of these like being a villain lines. And then at the 30 minutes before, they're like, nope, you're going to be on the good guys team. I was like, oh
shit.
no. But in Jacksonville, all you guys do is say Duval, and everyone, loves it. I think a few people recognized me and were booing me.
Okay,
but, right. Mostly it was the other guys, like the heels, were very good at getting boos, so made our job easy.
All right. Well, dude, thank you for doing this. I'm sure it's not easy to sit there and be that vulnerable and, again, tell the fucking world everything about what happened in your life, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for spending some time with me.
Yeah, bud. My last question is advice after everything we've talked about. What are you telling 16-year-old Ned Fulmer?
I think I would tell 16-year-old me to really try to stay true to yourself and to not always try to people please or to kind of do things to get other people's approval. I think that's always something that's been really hard for me, and something that I'm learning now as I'm getting older and practicing boundaries and getting better at it. But that's I think what I would tell my younger self is to, stay true to yourself and don't be afraid to say hard things, even if they're going to be uncomfortable to say or hear.
All right, that's great. One more time right there. Promote anything you'd like, please.
Sure. Check out the Rock Bottom podcast. It's stories of people's lowest moments, how they overcame them.
Can I ask you, has your wife done it yet? Have you and your wife done an
first episode?
Okay, good.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Okay, great.
Which was, well, I don't know. People didn't seem to like it. But
Listen. Did you guys? That's really all
it's funny. Like, she's not so tapped into online. She's like, "Oh, how's the podcast doing?" I'm like, "Arrow, it's not going well. Like, where have you been? Like, I'm getting destroyed out there. You look great, but no. I mean, we had this idea to kind of tell her story through the Rock Bottom show, but I think we like just skipped ahead. It was both reactivating that really painful moment for people in a way where people are like, oh, maybe you should keep this private, and like skipping all of the steps of how we dealt with it and like how we're able to sit in a room and chat and laugh and be friendly.
Well, look, no offense when I say I do think more of us should keep our shit private, myself included. However, kudos to your wife and you also, because you started on a camera and sort of did that thing. So even though it was a fucked up thing and it hurt you guys and a lot of people, the fact that you two could sit down together and do that, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have dodged that and said, nah, fuck off. I'm not doing that or whatever. That's gotta be uncomfortable to sit and do. So good for you guys.
It's kind of, we figured the only way out of it was through it. And then we were always going to get questions, and just to have this uncomfortable hour, 2 hours where we just talk about it all. who knows? Who knows how people are allowed to respond however they want.
There's no right answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thank you for doing this, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. We'll talk to you all next week.